This is the tutorial video for SuperSkank's dcypher device. It is a Max for Live device designed to be used in Ableton Live. In brief, what dcypher does is it has 64 MIDI clips with data and images associated with them, and it allows you to launch the clips using various follow modes by selecting the data associated with the clips or through the divination feature, all while it keeps track of everything that's playing with the data. So right here I have a completely blank live set, and we're going to set up the device from scratch pretty much. So I'm going to use this trick in Ableton Live where if you have a saved live set and you navigate to it in the browser, you can drag tracks into it, because I have a template set I'm going to use. So here's my dcypher template project I saved. I built this out of the first set you sent me with the drum rack in it. So I made this track hex 4 bars, and if I drag it into my set, I will get all of the named clips. So what's important here is, and these are all blank. I was using this template project during development. I emptied them all out. So you can use this workflow if you want, if it works for you. But yeah, it's really important that your 64 clips start on the first clip slot. And I just found this to be useful because it was a quick way to get already named clips populated in the track. And if you wanted to save more tracks like 2-bar loops, 8-bar loops, you could do that too and drag those over. So now that we have our track, I'm going to navigate to the folder where I saved the device. You can save it in a path that your live browser knows where it is, or you can drag and drop from your operating system. Either way works. So drag it onto the track, and here's the device. Now we're almost done setting up, but like I said, these clips are all 4 bars long, so we need to make sure our quantization value is set for 4 bars, because the dcypher device, the follow actions trigger at the end of Live's quantization. So if you want it to line up with the length of your clips, your quantization value needs to be the same as the clip length. So brief recap, most important things about setup are clips start in the first clip slot, and quantization value lines up with clip length. And once you have that going, you're pretty much ready to go. It's convenient that all of these clips are named properly, which is why I like to do it, but they can technically be named anything. But it's just easier to keep track of with the right names. So here's the dcypher device. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 panes for us to interact with. Actually, yeah. And everything you can click on and interact with. I notated over here in the info view. So you can click on the little triangle brand info view. So if you're using it and you want to check out how stuff works specifically, you can hover your cursor over all of the different user interface things. And if I wasn't able to get text into the info view, I put a pop-up info window on the cursor. I forget the exact name of it. But yeah, just so you can hover your cursor and get information about what to click on and what it does. So let's start by launching a clip. There's no sound because they're all blank. I emptied them out. I'll send this set over to you too if you like this workflow. But yeah, so we have 4 follow actions to choose from. None, just kind of just chills on one clip, and then next is gonna queue up the next clip to be fired at the end of the quantization period. If you choose previous, it'll go backwards down the list. And if you choose random, it'll randomly select any other clip or the same clip. It can be any other clip or the same clip, so it might fire itself. There's like a 1 in 64 chance it's gonna fire itself again on random mode. There's two meters down here, and right now they're synchronized, which is a good thing. The top meter is the current clip meter, and it shows you the place in the current clip, like the playback. It's like a playback head for the current clip, so you know where you are. So let's find abundance. I can illustrate that. It matches this playback cursor. They're always going to be the same. It should be near the beginning again. Yeah. And then the quantization indicator. This is like a playback indicator for the quantization loop. Now remember, in the beginning we set quantization to 4 bars because our clip length was 4 bars. That's why these are synchronized. But you could also use the device in a different way. For example, if you set your quantization value to 8 bars, which is a multiple of 4, so you'd get 2 clips played back before your follow action. So let me illustrate that. When the quantization reaches the end, it's going to fire the next clip. There, it queued it up. And it won't start playing until quantization reaches the end again, even though the current clip played a couple times in the meantime. So that's if you wanted to fire clips more slowly than the length of your clip. Let's set this back. I think most of the time you'll probably want to use it like this. This is how it's designed to be used in the first place. So yeah, that's how the follow actions work. You can see in this hexagram area, every time we fire a new clip, it updates the associated data. If we open the breakout window, we'll be able to see the hexagram visualization that's associated with the currently playing clip. And the cool thing about the hexagram area is, I think unlike the original device, you can now select from here to fire. So if we put follow action on none, so it stops jumping around, we can grab increase, and we just fired increase. Or we can grab receptivity. So we can use any of these in this area to fire clips. We can click on binary and drag up or down. We can change around the DNA codons, which is kind of an interesting way to fire clips because it won't go in order, if you know what I mean, because each one is its own menu, so you can kind of jump around with the different combinations you come up with. So this is kind of a cool way to fire clips. All of these allow you to fire clips, and for the integer you just drag up or down and it fires clips. Now the history window right here keeps track of every clip that gets played, or fired rather, in order. So the very first one we played was receptivity in the very beginning, and then we started jumping around. So this is cool because you can actually Yeah, let's go up to the top. Here's the clip receptivity up here. If we double click in the history, we can actually fire clips that have been previously played. So if you want to hear the same one, if you want to have the same one, go again. And since we just fired receptivity by double clicking on it, it got added to the end of the history list. It's pretty neat. You know, we could then double click return, fire return, and there return is. Now, if this list is getting unwieldy, it's getting too long for you to scroll through, you can clear it, and then you'll start with kind of a blank slate. But internally, the device still remembers the entire history that got played throughout the whole session. The clear just clears this visually for you to reduce clutter. So the right button, if you click the right button, it's going to pull up a save as dialog, which will allow you to export the history as a text file that's formatted with every clip on a separate line. So demo hex history, and this is just how Max works when it saves text files. You have to put in the file extension .txt. Otherwise, you'll have to add it later. You'll get like a unknown file made, and you'll have to add it later. So here we go, demo hex history.txt, save to the desktop. Demo hex history. Here we go. This is the one I just saved. And it produced this text file with, even though I cleared it, it still remembers all 72 clips I fired, apparently. So that's pretty cool. So at the end of your session, you can have this document that lets you know exactly what was played back in what order. And then finally, there's the divinate feature, which creates an upper and a lower trigram when you click this button, and those are combined to align with the binary, and a clip is then fired. So we just fired obstruction. We divinated obstruction, and we just divinated retreat. You can see these two 3-digit binary numbers correlate to this binary number. Now, the divination area is for visualization only. You can interact with it by clicking divinate, but you can't fire from these menus. You can only observe the data that's displayed. So that covers all of the major features. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Changing the color. This is the advanced color changing. So to change the color of the device, you actually have to edit the device itself. So there's a few steps involved. They're not super complicated though. Most importantly, what you want to have happen is don't have any clips playing when you open the device, otherwise you'll crash it. So put your transport on stop, and now we're not playing any clip. And actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna show you the right way to do this. So I'm gonna get rid of this device. This is still the color change tutorial. Here's our dcypher device. When working on a Max device, when actually modifying it, it's a good idea to always make a copy of it and work on the copy. So that's what we're gonna do. Here's the actual Max for Live device file. I'm gonna copy, paste. I'm in Windows. I know you're a Mac user, but just do the procedure for making another one. And we'll call this color test. So we're going to edit so I just duplicated the device and actual device file and named the device, the new one, color test. So we can play around with color test and not accidentally destroy the original device, which is something I've done many times, and it's very frustrating. So yeah, we have our color test device. We're gonna pause the transport. It's already paused, but step one, make sure transport's not playing. Now the edit button right here opens up the device. It takes a moment to load. Just give it a minute. So the Max console pops up. I'm sorry, I have live really zoomed in, and Max is not going to have the same zoom, so hopefully you can see this. But here's our device. Now, step two is we have opened the device in Max. Now, there's a snowflake right here that is the freeze unfreeze button. When a Max for Live device is frozen, it's essentially compiled. So we're going to click the freeze to uncompile it, unfreeze it. And now we're unfrozen. If the device is locked, make sure you unlock it down by the freeze button. And here's the inside of the device. I have our logos right here. This is in the display mode, the presentation mode it's called. If you click on something and it moves around like this, that means we need to lock the device. So click on the padlock to lock it, and that means we can interact with it. Now, and if you accidentally move something, like if you accidentally move that over there, just hit Command Z and put it back so that everything's in its right place. So press the padlock, lock everything up, and we have these two color swatches. This one's the background. We can change the background to any color we want. And this one's the text color. So let's make it like pink. I like pink and purple. That's kind of crazy. I think you can also adjust these if you have like a specific RGB value in mind, like you're going off a colored swatch grab from Photoshop, for example. You could put in the RGB value right here. And then there's two background boxes. This will change the kind of contrast hue of the background boxes. If you want to A/B a couple different color schemes, you can save them on these little squares by shift clicking. And then, yeah. Let me make another one. Shift click. A/B these two. Right. So I think what you're gonna need to do to save this is shift click this very first square and make the color change you want to be the first square by shift clicking right there. And then we're gonna need to go to File. No. Then we're gonna need to freeze the device. This is an important step. Freeze the device to recompile it so it gathers up all of the images and everything it needs. Then we go to File, Save. So now our device is locked, frozen, and saved. And we shift clicked and saved our color schema that we like in the first box. That's everything you need to do to change the color. Oh, and then live crashes. Nice. I wonder if it saved it. I'm sorry about that. Let's see what happened. Yes, let's recover. Hey, it saved it. Look at that. So, our dcypher colored test device is our new color. And yeah. And if we look at the old device, it'll have the old color scheme. So I'll do a brief recap on how to change the color. Duplicate the device so you get a fresh copy to work on. Pause the transport. Open the device by clicking on where the hot swap button is. Unfreeze device. Make sure device is locked, so you lock it. Then you can adjust your colors right here. Shift click the first button, square, to save it, to save your color schema. Freeze the device. Save the device. Close the device. Hey, it didn't crash this time. And your new color scheme is saved. So yeah, that's all the features of how to use the dcypher device. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me.